Yes, I heard you're not feeling very well. Yeah, you have a cold and a sore throat. Okay, you feel a bit warm. Yeah, maybe we check a temperature. Yeah, you feel very warm. Okay, yeah, I can do that. Let me take your temperature. Unfortunately, it's not a digital one. Yeah, so it will take a bit of time. Yes, I have old-fashioned thermometer. Okay, if you just put under your armpit. Yeah, sure. Yeah, just put down. Okay, so I need to wait a little bit. I don't know, 5-7 minutes. I do feel a bit pain. Would you like me to make you a cup of tea? It would be nice for your throat. Yes, I can make you one. Okay. Have your tea. It's a peppermint tea. Yes. You like peppermint tea? Yeah, smells very nice. It's very nice and hot. Sorry. You want some honey? Yeah, sure. I have some honey. Yes. I will put a little bit in your tea. Okay. Okay. Yes, it's very, very hot. You want some? Here we go. Can I have some? Let me see if you have any temperature. Yes, you have a bit of temperature. Yeah, that's why you feel a bit warm. I'm gonna give you some medicine. Yeah, it should help you. It's for your throat and for the fever. Yes, I have this one. I think just one should be enough. Just one. Here we go. I have a water for you. Take it. Okay. Okay, now lie down. Lie down. feel quite warm. Just do something for you. And a little towel. I'm gonna put on your forehead. Does it feel good? Yeah? Okay. I'm gonna leave it there. Just like this. Okay. Good. Would you like to drink your tea? There you go. Nice. Yes, it's very nice. Okay. I'm gonna wrap you up so you feel nice, warm. Would you like that? Sure. Yes, it's very, very soft. Very soft. There you go. Feel better. So, you want me to read you a book? Yeah, sure. What book would you like? You have one on your table. Okay, let me get one. I'll read you a book. Did you mean this one? The Snow Bear? Yes. Okay. You already start to read in it. I hope you'll find. Chapter 2. Yes, chapter 2. Okay. So, the polar bear. Granddad smiled at Sarah. Are you sure? You know, the story is a bit sad. Yes, I love it. I love that it's about you. Granddad said, actually, the family that we were with during the blizzard was my friend Alignac and his older brother, his father, and his grandmother. The same Alignac who was with me when we found the polar bear cub. How old was he? Sarah asked, sitting down at the kitchen table. The bear, I mean. Alignac thought he was just a couple of months old. We found him in the springtime. He said that the cub couldn't have been out of his den for long. He'd seen cubs before. I hadn't a clue. The bear was just sitting in the snow, looking miserable. What you were doing when you found him? Granddad started laughing. Well, Alignac was out to catch a fish, and I was along for the trip. He thought I was really funny. Useless at everything useful. And you found the polar bear, Sarah giggled. What did Alignac's mom say when he came home with a bear instead of fish? Granddad shook his head. His mom has died years before. It was a hard place to live, Sarah. Alignac's grandmother looked after him, and his dad and his brother. Sarah nodded. Yes, I remember now. Was she surprised? His grandmother? Alignac had brought creatures home before, an Arctic hare once, but never a bear. Bear. She told us to take it back. And Alignac told you he couldn't, because he would use up all the dried fish she'd given him. She was furious with him about that, but the bear had to stay home. Alignac and I had to fish to feed him, and his father and brother gave us seal meat and blubber sometimes as well. I think he was probably too young for the most of the things he ate. His mother would still have been giving him her milk, but he was hungry, so he made do. "What did you call him?" Sarah asked. She knew already, but she liked Grandad to tell her. It was part of the story. "Peter." I named him, and Alignac liked the sound of it. It was an old-fashioned sort of name, but Sarah liked it too. "What happened?" she asked quietly. This was the sad bit. Grandad sighed. "We kept him all through the spring and the summer, and he got bigger and bigger. Alignac's father wasn't happy about the amount he was eating. He was taking food away from the family, you see, and they were worried that Peter might hurt us. I think, looking back, never on purpose, he was friendlier than a dog, but even so he was only the size of the small dog when he found him. He was getting bigger and bigger, and he was strong. He would jump up to hug us, and we would go flying. He didn't really understand that his teeth and his claws were too sharp for playing." Grandad chuckled. "Actually, they wasn't too sharp. It was just we weren't bears. He should have been wrestling with his brother or sister. Polar bears usually have twins, and they grow up playing together." Sarah asked, "So you had to make him go away?" "We tried to teach him how to catch seals first. We didn't want him to be all on his own without being able to hunt. We showed him good places to find birds and eggs." Grandad leaned closer, showing her a tiny red mark at the side of his cheek. "See the scar? That's from the Arctic tern. They were dive bombing us. You couldn't blame them, really. We were stealing the eggs, and Peter loved them." He sighed again. "It still makes me sad. We waited till the winter was coming. Once the sea was frozen over, it would be easier for Peter to catch seals from the ice. He was nearly a year old then, we guessed, when we left him there. Just about old enough to manage by himself, probably. But he would have died if you hadn't taken him home with you when you found him, right?" asked Sarah. "You did the right thing, Grandad." Grandad nodded. "I know. And it wasn't fair to ask Alignac's family to look after a bear. Did you ever see him again?" Grandad steered the past us through fully. "We thought we did. There were quite a few young bears around that winter, but we could never be sure. I worried that he had have gone too close to another polar bear without realizing. They are loners, polar bears, once they're grown up, not friendly to each other. And after that winter, our year was up. We came home here again, your granddad and me." He looked at Sarah. "Come and watch this pasta for a moment. I've got something I think you'd like to see. I found it earlier on. It's mixed in with some other old things." He went out to study again and came back a few minutes later with an old black and white photo. "Look." Sarah took it carefully. "Grandad, is that you?" An Alignac and a Peter. 60 years ago. That must be now. The boys and the bear stared out of the picture at Sarah, smiling. Even the bear was smiling, she was sure. "Is that okay for you? Would you like to go sleep now?" puzzle leave a mark. I think you're not so warm anymore. You feel much better. Deep. Just relax and try to focus. You will feel much better. Okay, I come and visit you again.